The question that's a proper question for this Court, though, is whether or not, for the first time ever in our history, Congress also has the power to compel people into commerce, because it turns out that would be a very efficient thing for purposes of Congress's optimal regulation of that market.
But, Mr. Clement, this goes back to the Chief Justice's question, but of course the theory behind not just the government's case, but the theory behind this law is that people are in this market right now, and they're in this market because people do get sick, and because when people get sick, we provide them with care without making them pay. And it would be different, if you were up here saying, I represent a class of Christian Scientists, then you might be able to say, look, why are they bothering me? But absent that, you're in this market, you're an economic actor.
Well, Justice Kagan, once again, it depends on which market we're talking about. If we're talking about the health care insurance market—
Well, we're talking about the health insurance market, which is designed to access the health care market.
And with respect to the health insurance market that's designed to have payment in the health care market, everybody's not in the market. And that's the premise of the statute. And that's the problem Congress is trying to solve. And if it tried to solve it through incentives, we wouldn't be here. But it's trying to solve it in a way that nobody's ever tried to solve an economic problem before, which is saying, it would be so much more efficient if you were just in this market.
But they're in the market in the sense that they're creating a risk that the market must account for.
Well, Justice Kennedy, I don't think that's right, certainly in any way that distinguishes this from any other context. When I'm sitting in my house deciding I'm not going to buy a car, I am causing the labor market in Detroit to go south. I am causing maybe somebody to lose their job and for everybody to have to pay for it under welfare. So the cost shifting that the government tries to uniquely associate with this market, it's everywhere. And even more to the point, the rationale that they think ultimately supports this legislation, that, look, it's an economic decision. Once you make the economic decision, we aggregate the decision. There's your substantial effect on commerce. That argument works here. It works in every single industry.
Of course, we do know that there are a few people, more in New York City than there are in Wyoming, who never will buy a car. But we also know here, and we don't like to admit it, that because we are human beings, we all suffer from the risk of getting sick, and we also all know that we'll get seriously sick. And we also know that we can't predict when. And we also know that when we do, there will be our fellow taxpayers through the federal government who will pay for this. If we do not buy insurance, we will pay nothing. And that happens with a large number of people in this group of 40 million, none of whom can be picked out in advance. Now, that's quite different from the car situation,